So, do I support the minimum wage hike? I do not. Let me tell you why. It is unfair to people who have worked hard. It is unfair to people who went to school. It is unfair to trade professionals, talented, qualified, skilled individuals. And let me tell you why. Because minimum wage is not intended to support a family. People who make minimum wage should not drive nice cars. Maybe they have to take a bus, ride to work. People making minimum wage should not be be able to afford their own apartments, stuff like that. Can you live off a minimum wage as it is? Absolutely. Many people are doing it right now. I did it. But the real thing is it's going to destroy a lot of jobs. Businesses, especially small businesses, are not going to be able to afford to pay employees minimum wage if it increases 50%. In the state of California, in some counties, minimum wage is going up from $10 an hour to $15 an hour. A lot of employers are not going to be able to afford that. They're going to go out of business. And what they're going to do to try to stay afloat, and even major corporations are going to do this, you're going to see an increase in the cost of everything, from bread, clothes, you name it. They're going to have to. The days, if McDonald's has to start paying their employees $15 an hour, you think you're going to get that fucking cheeseburger on the dollar menu? No. It's going to be $1.50 menu now. They're going to make money somehow. It's going to be off the consumer to try to cover that loss. And again, minimum wage is not intended to support a family. You can get by on it, barely. If you want to make more money, go to school, get a trade, be talented, be resourceful. I mean, let me give you an example. When I started doing sushi, well, first of all, I worked for minimum wage at the beginning of my employment 25 years ago. I flipped burgers, I washed cars, I worked at Target, mowed lawns, shit like that. And I got sick of that. The job sucked. Paychecks even sucked worse. So what did I do? I saved up some money when I was flipping burgers, making minimum wage. At the time, it was like $7 an hour or something like that. Yeah, fuck you, I'm old. But I did it. And anyway, what did I do? I saved up. I got a car, and I started delivering pizzas. Now, I got paid minimum wage delivering pizzas, but I made tips. So now I'm making, 50% more than minimum wage. Car broke down, started making pizzas. Back to minimum wage. It's like, this fucking sucks. So I got a job as a busboy at a restaurant, making minimum wage plus tips. Wasn't happy being a busboy, but I was still making 50% more than minimum wage. So I got a job being a server after 6 months. Now I'm making double what I made minimum wage. The bottom line is I was resourceful. People can work for tips. There's a lot of places that work for tips that you can work for tips at. I don't feel sorry for people making minimum wage. If you don't like it, quit. I don't mean to sound like Steve Buscemi in Reservoir Dogs, but if you don't like it, you can go work somewhere else. And that's even more recently. I started doing sushi about 10 years ago. I started off as an assistant. Basically, the name was Sushi Bitch. It's a Japanese name, but nobody's called me that for many, many years. But I put my time in. I made just slightly above minimum wage hourly. And if I cleaned the chef's knives, cleaned their cutting boards, emptied all the trash, if I did their side jobs, they would each kick me down $5-10, And so I was doing okay. But I put my time. I did that for about a year, and I learned a trade. Some people go to school for a trade. Some people go to a tech school for a trade. They put their time in. Whether you do it behind a computer, learning, you do it, going to class, or you do it hands-on like I did. That's what I did. Then I became a full chef, and then, now I'm making 2 to 3 times more than minimum wage. So, with my tips. But see, here's where this whole thing is going to hurt me. I put my time in. I worked for minimum wage and got a little bit of tips because I'm, worked hard. But I basically made minimum wage. I put my time in. Okay, my pay level, let's say minimum wage is $10 an hour now. It's like 9 something or whatever. Depends on where you live. Let's just call it 10. It's an easier number. $10 an hour. Well, cool. You know, that's not too bad actually. After 3 years, 4 years as a full sushi chef, fully trained, my hourly rate fetches about $15 an hour. Now with my tips, I can make $20 to $25 an hour, depending on how busy it is, where I work. There's variables, but $20 an hour is basically what I make when I factor in my tips. But my hourly pay is still 15. Now, and I can only get by really because I make my tips. But either way, I spent years crafting or learning my trade, fine-tuning my craft to make it to the level that I am now. Now, minimum wage goes up in LA County. It's going to go up to $15 an hour. Okay, so now this kid, his first job flipping burgers, is going to be making the same as me hourly. That's unfair. It's unfair to me, and it's going to put a lot of places out of business. It's unfair to the people that went to school. It's unfair to the people that are resourceful, which is a key word. I mean, you don't have to go to school. I didn't. Well, I did. I just never graduated college. I dropped out. But whatever it is, you go to school, you're resourceful, sell drugs, doesn't fucking matter. It's unfair to the people that work or resourceful enough, who've gone to school, learned a trade, resourceful, whatever, that the kid flipping burgers is now encroaching onto his onto his rate of pay simply because he did nothing, just because they've decided that these guys should make more at McDonald's because they can't afford to have a family. Well, maybe you shouldn't have a fucking family, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. Do you think my employer, who pays me $15 an hour now, when minimum wage goes up to $15 an hour, which is $5 more an hour than it currently is, you think he's going to give me a raise of $20 an hour? No, I know he's not. He can't. He can't afford to. He may not even be able to afford to stay in business when he's going to have to pay everybody $15 an hour. There's no way he's going to compensate the people that are already making 15. So it's unfair to us. It really is. Again, minimum wage was never intended to live off of. It's intended to provide with the bare necessities. And even making what I make now, around $20 an hour, I can barely afford to live where I live. But I choose to live in California, very close to the water, to the beach. I live in a decent apartment, stuff like that. But it's it's not intended to live off of. So people need to take that into consideration. Do I sympathize with people who are making minimum wage? Yes. Do I know how hard it is to live off of minimum wage? Yes. Bottom line is, you need to get a job, better job. If you got to go to school, learn a trade, do whatever.